Greetings, you amazing people. Today we're going to talk about my journey back into maining Linux. Ooh. I've been using Linux since the mid-90s, maining it for... let's type here, can I remember it? 2000 to, I would say 11. And the reason for that was I got back into gaming. Before 2000, I was an OS enjoyer. I used OS to Warp, Amiga OS, Sky OS, Visos, was it OS to Warp, Warp 4, something like that, I have always said that, Solaris, BOS. I was all over the place, but I mainly mained Windows/Linux. And then for like a year or two, I mained the good old, my favorite OS ever, BOS, for like a year, and then it got killed off. That's the thing. And now I'm back to maining Linux, or at least trying to. That's my 2026 kind of thing. I want to main Linux. And in this journey, I have to admit a really big thing. I was wrong about Pop OS and the Cosmic Desktop, and we will get into this. So bear with me. Please watch the video to the end before you comment, because you're leaving out or missing information, like you don't judge a book by its cover or review a movie by its poster. Like the video if you like, dislike it if you dislike it, and then again, like if you have watched it to the end, then you can go comment and go nuts with all your opinions and whatnot, as long as you're civil. I don't want the OS wars, or this distribution better than the other. It's all personal preferences. And Microsoft and Windows is the worst. No, I still love Windows as a technology. I still love Mac OS as a technology. I use both of them every day. We'll get into that. And then if you desire, click the subscribe button, enable the bells, we get more videos of that. If you want me to do videos about a subject, go onto my Discord, recommend a subject or a video or whatever, or have a conversation in there, and that conversation maybe spark a video. A lot of stuff like that happens in my Discord. Why Linux now? Why not 2025, 2015? It's two things: gaming and MS AI slop. This is probably the biggest one. Or in general, AI slop. If I see a Linux distribution talking about AI slop, fuck you, okay? I don't want your AI slop. It's a tool. It's great for certain things. It's not like a one-shoe-fits-all like Nvidia and Meta and Microsoft and all of these that make billions of dollars on AI want you to believe. Oh, it's telling me there's a BIOS update. I should not do that. Yep. Starting to do this by. I hope it don't fucking update in the middle of this video. God damn, I hate Lenovo's, side note here, I hate Lenovo's fucking utility tool. It's doing a BIOS update now, it looks like. Oh boy, we are back, I hope. That took a little bit, like a few minutes. Again, a little side note here. This is why I do something that everyone at work, or a lot of people at work, laugh at me for doing. Every morning I come to work, I do Winget update, I check the Microsoft Store for updates, I check Windows updates, and if I have like, I do have a Lenovo, I go into the Lenovo Vantage tool and I check for updates, because then, if you do all those, if there is updates, you do them in the morning, you're not getting into the situation here where a program randomly restart, or a display driver reset itself because it has updated while you're doing some coding, and everything is like 200 scale and stuff like that. Tip for everyone out there. I'm tired of Microsoft pushing that. If they get a way of pushing AI, they clean it out of their systems. I have a special ISO that I use where I clean out all of the AI from Microsoft. Recall, Copilot, Office 6, or not Office, Copilot 360, whatever the fuck they're called now, and telemetry. But I should not have to make a custom ISO taking out half of the OS to run it. It's just a little bit stupid in my opinion. But if Windows 12 or Windows 11 in 6 months they give us a light edition, I may go back to Windows, because Linux is by far perfect. I'm recording and doing all of this right now from a Windows laptop, because a lot of the tools I use don't work on the Linux. I have to edit because the editing software I have does work on Linux, but not that well, and or there are some formats that don't work or features don't work on Linux that I use. I have to use a Windows or Mac laptop for that. I still cannot live 100% on Linux, but I can do 80% of my work on Linux. So that's why right now I am doing Linux plus Windows. Maybe Mac OS. I have a Air and I have two Mac Minis, and I may, I have disconnected all of the Mac because I'm a little bit fed up with Mac OS with the whole fucking ass interface they made. What is it called? Liquid class. It's so fucking awful. I hate it. I love the previous version of Mac OS. The new version of Mac OS is almost as bad as fucking Windows. And it doesn't have AI in it. It says a lot. So I'm using Linux plus Linux right now. Linux plus Windows right now. And I mostly use Windows for the things I can't do on Linux. Creative stuff. Editing, photo editing software, that there are good editing photo software on or photo editing software on Linux, but again, I'm in a situation where the features I use is between professional and intermediate, and there's just better software. I'm not saying you can't do it on Linux, there's just better software that makes it faster, easier, and more convenient to work with on Windows and on Mac OS. So I went from MS slop to Linux. Okay, so I'm here right now. Like right now, I have Linux, and my current system. This is going to surprise a lot of OS. Is Pop OS. What is it doing? And if you are a follower of my channel of a year, 2 years ago, I had a massive crash out with the developers of Pop OS because of Cosmic. The Cosmic desktop. I'm not a fan, was not a fan. Well, I am kind of now, but I was not a fan. We don't need more desktop. I'm still believing this. We don't need more desktop environments. There's too many distributions, desktop environments. Linux needs to unify, okay? That said, Cosmic Desktop is fucking damn good. I'm in the situation where with Pop OS, I always loved Pop OS. It's always been my favorite Linux distribution. What I didn't like with Pop OS was that they wanted to reinvent the wheel. And they've reinvented the wheel. And it is more or less just GNOME done in Rust with a lot of extra nice features. And I actually fucking love it, okay? So I was wrong in that aspect. But a lot of the things I said in that video and where the developers was crashing out with me, and I said in the comment section, I still stand by to some degree. Like I said, we don't need more. We need better. But I will say, okay, if Cosmic Desktop is that one extra thing we need more before everything gets better, I will say, if that was your vision, if that's what you're going for and you succeed, I will admit defeat. I will say, yes, we needed this one extra thing for everything else to become better. The jury is still out there, and I am really enjoying Pop OS with Cosmic right now. Let's go down the list of distribution I have tried either on laptop or my physical hardware or both, okay? So this is my yes. So this is like the list. Or array, if you want to call it that, depending on however you want, whatever things you want to put in there. And we can do D for distro. Okay? So distros I have used. Debian. Ubuntu. I'm not going to write the whole names out. Mint. What else? Kubuntu. Of course, Pop OS, but I will not put that in there because that's what I settled on. Fedora. I'm thinking here because I spent like December and up till today, the 17th of January 2026, or well, a week ago, so the 10th of January 2026, experimenting with distribution. And I still, to some degree, do that on my laptop. I have like a test laptop with an 8th Gen i5. That is also a Lenovo that I test out on. Like, I haven't used many because I tend to use them for like a week, 2 weeks. Like, I used them for quite a long time. So Mint I used for like 2 weeks. I can put like, let's put how, because this one here came back to, oh well, I started more than in December. I started to test them out on my laptop in maybe October. You can see, like, when I say how many, you can put the time together, you can see when I started it out, because I used Debian, I came back to it on my laptop for like 2 weeks. Ubuntu for 3 weeks with combined 2 on my laptop, or 3 weeks on my laptop, and it didn't work. I couldn't get the installer to work on the LTS version on my computer. Then I went back to the current one. It booted in, or I couldn't boot into the LTS version, and then I went back to the 25.10 version. It booted in, it worked, but the installer didn't pop up. It just didn't want to launch, and I didn't want to fiddle around with it. I probably should just reboot it. Mint I actually had for like a month, combined with on my laptop and running it on my physical hardware. And the only, like, I will go with the problems was laid down below. Kubuntu I ran for like a week. Fedora a week. And now I've been like a week on Pop OS. I should probably do that up there. So if you do this, I'm on week 2 on Pop OS. So if you take maybe 2-3 months, I've been experimenting on and off with it, and I dual booted with Windows, and or it was been on my lap. So all of these here, is like combined with either full-time desktop or laptop use. Okay. So it's not like 3 weeks on a laptop or 3 weeks on my main computer. It can be either one, but it can be whatever you can think of on it. But that's like the amount of time I tested. And Debian I really loved. Just the work to get it up and running. Ubuntu, like I said, the installer crapped out. Couldn't boot on the LTS OS. That crapped out. Mint, for the most part, was fine. So I would say, like, mostly, yep. Suspension / hibernation was really fucking bad. So it would suspend, it would hibernate, it would go to screen save and stuff. And I need that because I need my computer on all the time. And I don't want to physically lock the fucking screen and stuff like that when I don't use it anymore. I just want to do whatever I do, put my clothes on, go to fucking work, and then when I come home, it's in hibernation. If I had anything running on the desktop as simple as the H-top monitor, no, did not work. Did not want to do anything, said fuck you and what have you not. Other than that, Mint was like, no, it's probably after Pop OS, I will do like a top 3. Kubuntu was, again, for the most part, actually really fine. This thing was just KDE. Most people develop for GTK, or use their own libraries, and it's just like when you're running a Qt-centered system, a lot of time GTK application or other applications, they just look misplaced, they look out of place. But other than that, loved it. Was amazing, ran snappy. It was just too Windowsy, I think, with KDE. It was just like I'm on Linux, like I don't want to mimic Windows. Might as well just use Windows. Fedora, it was too fuss, I think. So if you want to go outside of the fuss world, you have to do a lot of extra unnecessary steps. Led me up to be like, I've tried all of these. A lot of people say Cosmic is really good. I see a lot of people talking good about Pop OS with the Cosmic desktop. So I'm like, you know what? Let me install it on my laptop. So I installed Pop OS on my not loop, but laptop. And I actually really fucking liked it. The battery life was amazing compared to other distribution. This looks like an Apple, it's a battery. You know, it was snappy. I could install snaps easily, even though they don't want you to, or they don't. I'm not saying they don't want you to, but it's not like with Mint. Which one of the biggest issues you also have with Mint was they were blocking snaps. And I know why they're doing it, but there's other ways of fixing that problem than blocking it, because there are tools that I want to run, and to get the latest and greatest, I have to use a snap package because that's what the maintainer do. And some of the other packages are months behind, sadly enough, that's run by the community. And I don't want to be months behind in an IDE or in a really important tool for security reasons, stability reasons, etc., etc., etc. So there are like 1 or 2 apps that snaps is the only way, man. Just like there are a few apps that are used right now. One of them that I'm looking into that I want to test out is Beaver Notes, and that's Flatpak only if you want to be on top of it. And I'm testing that out right now for a note-taking app on Linux. It also works on the Mac OS, but that could be another video. So I use the technology that gives me the best tool. So I'm not like, oh, everything has to be flat, everything has to be native, everything has to be snaps. No, I use the best tool. But Pop! OS allow me to install snaps really easy, snappy, with good battery life. I kind of like the look of it. It is missing a lot of features. There's a lot of bugs. There's like one of them. I will put a picture up here somewhere. In the title bar or in the top bar. Oh, I can't fucking draw here. I have all my icons on the top bar. So imagine this is an icon. This is an icon. This is an icon. The non-native icons, that's not OS native, so Spotify, Chrome, Opera, stuff like that, they are really low res. And I mean low resolution. They just don't look right. And there are other little things. Sometimes there was one time when I clicked on a folder, there was a picture folder. I clicked on it. It showed the content and went back to the folder. I clicked enter, it showed the content, and it opened and collapsed until I double-clicked with my mouse. There's a lot of things that needs to be fixed. I would love a really, really good weather app, like built in, that was easy to set up, that was I prefer to get information because I go out a lot, I walk a lot, I don't have a car, so everything I do is on my feet. I refuse to pay the ridiculous prices public transport cost in Denmark, local public transport. So I walk. If it means I have to walk 2K, 3K to pick up a parcel, I do that. I don't give a fuck. So it's really, really important to me, especially because in Denmark it's a little bit like we have the pretty symptom where the weather changes quite a lot. So I like that updates like every 15 minutes or so. Maybe preferably every 5 minutes, to be honest. Or preferably in real time. So I've looked at some alternatives and stuff like that, but it would be nice to have like a good native one of that. And another really, really good native one I would like is like a sticky note app or something like that, like a note app. And there's like I could probably should make a video about all the things I kind of wish they will make, and they probably will make it because these are like standards in most desktops environments. So I was like fucking around with that on my laptop. Then I put it on my PC. And I went on to game on it. I also gamed on all the other distributions. And it was fucking great. I will say that Windows versus Linux gaming, 99% of the time, depending on the game, of course, but 99% of the time, it's kind of the same. There are some technologies that only works on Windows. There are some things that will look better on Windows because that's the target platform. But you will get the 99% experience. Unless you're playing something with anti-cheat and stuff. But for the games that works on both platforms, they are 99% of the same. They're getting about the same frame rate. They're about the same stutter. Blah, 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 blah. The problem with Windows problem, I will type them up here, is the driver handler, I will call it, and stuff like that, like updates. If there's pending Windows update, it can slow down the whole system and blah, 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 blah. It will back-end install some updates that then can inform performances on your game. NVIDIA drivers are super fucking unstable on Windows at the moment for some fucking weird reason. And that means that there's not been any updates to your Windows drivers, but once in a while you boot into a game and it will stutter like hell and you will get like half the frames that you normally get. And I know a lot of people blame Windows for this. It's not Windows' fault. I looked into this, I tested it. It is the Linux drivers, not Linux drivers, the NVIDIA drivers. And it's a known issue. There's known issues with NVIDIA drivers on Windows right now. So Windows is in of itself is not the problem I have with gaming on Windows. It's actually really fucking well. It's third-party applications fucking up. And then, of course, the next big thing is AI. The extra requirement, if you do run the AI suites they have, that means you need more RAM, you need more of this, and more of that, because they're running all the time in the background. But even with the bad drivers, when the drivers work, even with the AI running, if you're getting X frames and X timing on Linux, on Windows, you get about the same on Linux. Sometimes you get a little bit more. There are games I played on Linux, I feel it's a little bit smoother, a little bit better. And then I play some other games on Windows again just to go back and test them, and they run a little bit better, a little bit smoother. I will say there is, on average, you say, but Fallout runs 20,000 times better on Linux. My penis is so erect that I'm hitting myself on the cheek from all of the smoothness on Windows. Yeah, or on Linux. Yes, there are games that run better on either Windows or Linux. I am talking, if we take all of the games that I have experienced, like the average of all of them, I'm not pinpointing, this game runs better on Linux, this game runs massively better on Windows. Because then we could take all the anti-cheat supported Windows games and say, fuck you, Linux, okay? But the biggest difference that are between Windows and Linux is maximum 2%. Again, there are games that are better on Linux and better on Windows where this difference is higher. On average, if you play a lot of variety games, different games, on average you will notice maybe a 2% difference, where Windows in 2% will be better than Linux in 2% will be better, okay? It's not like I tried Linux gaming, I was like, wow, my mandate is just free war for fucking expectations over succeeding and fidelity being bumped up to 11, and no, it looks kind of the same problems, because a lot of the problems games have is not Win OS problems, it's game design problems, okay? So gaming is actually really, really good. So that little side note. And here's the thing, suspension just fucking work. Suspension hibernation. It's again snappy. It goes out of your way. By default. Windows for me is amazing. Windows for me gets out of the way. But I also spend hours customizing an ISO 2 times a year, every 6 months. Cleaning out Windows, disabling features in the backend on the ISO, making it go to dark mode by default. I think I do that now, or at least I've done it on and off. You know, basically, think about making your own distribution. I do that with Windows 2 times a year. But that's a lot of work to put in to get a good experience on Windows. And that's always been the strong suit on not all Linux distributions, but some Linux distribution, is that you get this by default. And if you want to be really, really fucking like, I want to control every little fucking penis and vagina hair on my distribution, you go Gentoo, Linux from scratch, Arch Linux. Even OpenSUSE can allow you to do that if you know how to do it, where you customize every little part of it. But the thing here is that, let's scroll down again. Pop gives me the best out of the box. Out of the box. The books. Let's do this. Let's change some words, letters around. Pop always give me the most satisfaction out of the box. And I don't like that because I was so critical about Cosmic OS or Cosmic Desktop. And again, there's still a lot of issues. And again, I still think they reinvented the wheel. It's heavily based on GNOME. You can see that it's heavily inspired, let me say, by GNOME. And it tries so hard to be. If you look when you set it up, you have like the Mac layout or you have the Windows layout. And if you do this, and this is the kind of the problem I have with a lot of Linux distribution. If you do this, why not just one Windows? Yeah, Windows. No, that's not Windows. Mac OS. If you want this, why not one Windows? And also, but you like Mint, it kind of do the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same issue I have in Mint. I wish Linux distributions would do something unique. Don't go tiling Windows Manager. Most people don't want tiling Windows Managers. It's for nerds and developers, administrators. It's not for the everyday user. If you like tiling Windows and it makes your fucking coding experience 10 times, you become a 20x developer with your vibe coding and you don't know what a for loop is, but you're a 10x developer anyway because you're tiling. All the power to you. But your grandmother, your sister, your CEO, your CT, the people that pays your money or pay your salary, they don't give a fuck about tiling Windows Managers. Being an accountant will not make you faster with tiling. Being an artist, tiling Windows is not going to make you that much better, if at all. So, they don't want that, but I wish that Linux would do something different. I don't know if you guys can remember the spinning cube here back in the day on your screen. Or exposing your desktops like this on your screen. Linux did this first. Linux used to be, I think Linux also did first with, if this is your taskbar, and you hovered over, it will show you a preview of the window that you had. So this could be your browser. I think Linux did that first also. Linux used to do a lot of things first. Now it don't. It don't really innovate anymore. And Linux has not really innovated in 15, 20, 15-ish years. 10 to 15 years. But it used to be like, this was the saying like in the 90s and 2000, 2010. Linux was the R&D OS. Like if you want to see what the future brings in the UI world, you looked at Linux. And then like 2, 3, 4 years down the line, Mac OS, Windows will adopt the best ideas out of that. Now it's a little bit different. Linux distribution makers are looking at Windows and Mac and trying mimicking them in the sake of, oh, well, it's easier for Windows users. No, it's not. Or it's easier for Mac users. No, it may look the same. But then they want to find applications and they find out, oh, this is not the launcher from Windows. This is not the launcher from Mac OS. Or they want to open up the file manager. You know. And like this is nothing like the file manager of Windows. Nothing like the file manager of Mac OS. So the ease other OS users into Linux is only skin deep. So why not prepare them from the beginning? Yes, this is Linux. Yes, this is different. Windows users don't have that big of a problem migrating over to Mac OS. And it's massively different. And Mac OS users don't have a big problem migrating over to Windows. And it's a big UI difference. But for some reason, the Linux people think we have to look like them to be them or beat them. If you really want to beat them, give them something. Give people something other people don't have. You get what I'm coming at here? So I wish that, yes, you're building a new desktop environment. Be creative, dudes. Be fucking creative. Do something that is like, wow. People used to take screenshots and make videos about that desktop spinning with the cube up here. all the time because it was that big of a wow. Did it make you more productive? No. Did it really matter? Not really. But it was cool as fuck. And sometimes you just need cool shit, okay? The same with this one down here. This one they actually use nowadays still to this day because it's actually fucking useful and it's cool. You know, experiment a little bit. And another thing I wish that pop-overs would do, I don't know if you have a creative department or artists there, they can do better. It's not an ugly OS, but I'm about to say that I'll put down a word here. It's a little bit too nerdy. I get the whole space theme, robot theme, neonish colors, and it speaks really well to someone like me, or someone of my brain patterns, or what you would call it. You know, nerds, developers, IT people. This is where you probably should learn from Windows and Mac OS, or even KDE. Because their default, what is it called, Breeze or something like that, is really good. Is it boring? Yes. But boring also in most cases means that most people will like it. It's not too in your face, it's not blah blah blah, it's boring because you see it all the time. So sometimes boring can be good, and you can have both. You can have the nerdy and you can have the big old B word, the boring word. Give me the option. Right now in Cosmic, the option is nerdy on a rainbow scale, or on a gradient scale. It's either a little bit nerdy or over the top fucking nerdy. So I wish like their design department, UI department would be a little bit boring. And this is not like, I like the nerdy stuff. I love the way it looks right now, to be like, I love it. Like I said, Pop OS, this here, is just for me. That don't mean it will be for you. Arch may be that for you. Gentoo may be that for you. Red Hat, or an offspring of that, or Debian may be that for you. But Pop OS is that for me. But I'm a developer, self-taught developer. I'm a self-taught IT idiot. Done it for 30 years. Since I was a fucking preteen almost. Actually, preteen. I don't know what the cutoff is. 12 years old or preteen? Well, I've done it since I was 12 years old. You know, this is my life. You know, I love sci-fi and all that shit. But I also wish that they would be like, yes, we see your kid, we see people like you, but you are the minority. Let's also attract and talk to the boring business people. You know, look at Lenovo. Look at the, I'm going to make a video about this, the red pimple mafia. You know. Are the Novos exciting? No. Are they boring as fuck? They barely fucking change. Everyone loves them. It's really hard to find someone that don't like the Lenovo. They're well built, well optimized, good keyboards even on the entry level, good hardware, good software, good options. Put that into Pop OS also. Not for me, but for everyone else that's not like me. And that's the thing that I think a lot of, and that was kind of also the thing that I wanted to say with the video where I was critical about the Cosmic Desktop, is that a lot of Linux thing is about me. It's about me that makes it. It's about what I would like. If you want this to expand, if you want this to become better, more accessible, it has to be about us. What do I like? What do you like? Let's take the middle ground. Put something in that I can, that I like, and put something in you like, and then when you use the distribution, you choose that. When I use it, I choose the other thing. But a lot of things in Linux, from the community to the developers to the distribution makers to the marketing people, it's all about me, 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 me. There are really few distributions that look at the us. And the ones that actually do this are called boring, standing still, or you just want to be Microsoft. So the Debians, the Ubuntus, and stuff like that, or the Red Hats, because they actually look at what would the majority of people like, and then they give a little bit, they sprinkle in a little bit for the nerds. That's like, I know that there's a lot here at the end about what I wish would be better, because there's a lot of things Pop! OS can do better. But yeah, like I said, if Pop! OS or if Cosmic is this one last thing we need to make the Unity better, the rest better, I will eat the dick. I will take the L. I will crumple the balls. I will kiss the feet. I will admit defeat. If we need this one thing to make everything better. I will say, out of the latest desktops attempts, Budgie, Debian Desktop, and all of those things, I will say Cosmic is the best. It's the best attempt, that's done the best, that seems to run the best out of all of them. It's the best modern, even if you take Cinnamon, it's the best modern attempt at a desktop. It just sucks we had to wait this long and have this many different desktops to get to this. Again, was kind of the point, or the thing I want to say with the video where I was talking about we don't need another desktop environment. Because we should not need another desktop environment. But I also will agree and admit that sometimes we do need that one thing to push everything in some direction. And my fear also with them putting so much effort into the Cosmic Desktop was that it would cost the company. They would be too invested into it, meaning that System 76 basically went out of business, which didn't seem to happen, which I'm happy. But that was one of my concerns, that they were over-focusing on remaking GNOME in Rust. I don't care if this is done in C++, Rust, Java. I don't give a fuck. Python, don't give a fuck. The coded language aspect, I don't give a fuck about. They have some technical reasons that they deem to be the reason to go with Rust. Fine by me. But if you just take GNOME, and which is what it sounded like they wanted to me, take GNOME, do it in Rust for the sake of memory safeness and speed and blah blah blah, that would be stupid in my opinion. It happens to not be the case. I'm happy to see that. But the coding language should not dictate what you do. The coding language is just another tool in the box. Like, if you're going to make a semi-calculator, don't say Rust for that. That would be stupid. Like, you can do it if you want to, but it's the same problem I have with C++ developers, C# developers, Java developers. A lot of developers, their preferred language is the one to fit all solutions. And that's not how the world works. There's not one tool to fix every problem. Because then everything becomes a hammer. Or every tool becomes a hammer. So yeah, I'm going to eat the big D. Defeat, Dick, call it what you will. This is what's going on since October, November for me. Why I've been a little bit slow with videos. And this is kind of the thing you can expect, at least for the future. Because like I said, the workplace is expanding. I'm doing a lot more work. It's actually paying the bills, so that's what I'm focusing on. But the videos that I'm going to make from now on are going to be long-form format videos. Like this. Like you were with me at work and we were trying to solve a problem on a whiteboard. I hope you like that. And sometimes there will be some videos into it, but you get the idea here. So yeah, that's what I've been experimenting with. I'm sticking with Pop! OS. Like I said, I've been on it for 2 weeks. I'm into week 2 now. And I may give you like a 6-month update on it. Of course, there will be other videos between that, but I kind of like a summer update. And see if I actually stuck with Linux as my main, or I went back to either Mac or Windows. I hope I'm not doing that. Like I'm crossing everything and praying to whatever I want to play to. That this is the format that mainly Linux, and then once in a while, if needed, it's either Windows or Mac. Mostly Windows because I have 2 Windows laptops. A development and a personal one. For reasons that I can't do what I do on them on Linux. This is not a video to say Windows is bad other than the AI slop part of it. It's still a fucking good operating system. Mac OS is still an amazing operating system. Linux is an amazing operating system. I just got tired of Microsoft AI slop. And now I'm giving Linux a try. So I hope this was interesting. See you all later. Bye bye.